Good morning. This is Wende Henley with the Bedford Area Chamber Vibes this morning. We are coming to you just ready to talk about writing a book, and we have a great guest, Amy Collier, author and owner of Nostalgic Traditions Farm right here in Huddleston. Welcome, Amy. How are you this morning?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing great, doing great. We're so excited to have you on the show. And so many things to talk about this morning about your farm and book writing and how to inspire others for their story. But we'll just start it right off with talking about what brought you here to this area. And now you're living on a wonderful farm. So how long have you been here?
We moved to Bedford, Virginia in 1976, where my father started the very first mushroom farm in the state of Virginia.
Wow. I mean, that's inspiring in itself, talking about working on a farm, starting a farm. And so what type of farm is this? And
My
how
farm,
he started.
My farm, I have chickens, and I sell the eggs. We sell the chicks at all stages, or the meat. We have ducks, Muscovy ducks that we sell, and duck eggs. We have rabbits. We have Marama sheepdogs that we have puppies once or twice a year.
So you have a lot of animals there, and I know each one of them has names, and I know that is just so wonderful. I see why you named it Nostalgic. And so, but you also sell meat, so that's great. And you've got the piglets and puppies, all the things.
Yes.
And I see that you also make, grape juice?
Yes, we have a very old grapevine, and so me and my grandchildren will pick the grapes, and then we will make and can the grape juice and sell that. My daughter makes jams, so we sell strawberry, peach, grape jam.
So we're gonna have to make a special trip and come out and see all this and go berry picking. And so what you have, let's see, you also make bags, grocery. What do you're just a home business right
yes,
there.
When you have all the different animals, you have a lot of feed bags every week. So I will take the feed bags and turn them into, you can use them for groceries, you can use them for gifts, you can use them for tote bags. I have some people use them for lunch bags. And so that's a way to reuse your feed bags.
Yeah, absolutely. So the farm started in 76 and also mushroom farm and first one in the state of Virginia.
Yes.
Ran for over a decade. My goodness. Well, so you are a published author. And so I don't know what you do in your spare time. I would guess working on the farm because you're so busy with everything else. And you're a speaker and you go all over. And thank you for coming on our podcast today.
Well,
so you've been featured in magazines and now here on our show. So let's dive into, so many people are going through so many things with their businesses and just coming through COVID, coming out of this pandemic. A lot of people have fear factors that they're dealing with. Maybe they're just overwhelmed with life in general. They don't know who to trust, and they're just going through their own season of just unsure and really wanting to restart, just to press the restart button. And, you can be that inspiration. I know with your books, they have a lot of faith to them and, coming out of dark places, people want to transform their lives and they want to live in the light. And so you definitely can speak to that through your journey. And so we're looking forward to just diving into that and talking about how people can get to the other side, right?
Yes.
And go through that healing process. So let's talk about what inspired you to write your story.
Well, it started off, I needed to get the things out that I was holding in. So it started off with just putting my thoughts to paper, and it turned into writing my story.
Yes. So that was part of the healing process.
Yes, it was.
Is just putting it down on paper, and they talk about that, with anything, just to write it down. It gets out a lot of feelings, a lot of emotions, and then you come through that period of just realizing, okay, where am I now? So much further, right? So when you're overcoming those challenges and you wrote your story, what was something that was a pivotal moment in your life that really changed the trajectory of your story?
My struggle with my faith, and then I went through a series of events realizing that I was not alone, gave me the strength and the courage to move towards healing.
Yes. That is so awesome. And because everybody has that moment, right, where they say, this is a pivotal moment where my life can make this huge change, either for the better or the worst, and you are, realizing I'm going to go forward and not backwards. And, someone you had shared earlier that had prayed for you,
Mm-hmm.
and that was a pivotal moment in your life.
Yes.
And so, and then, so once you write your story, you start thinking, well, I want to share this with people. I want my story to help others, right? I'm sure that's where you were. And so, if people that are listening and they, everybody has a story to tell. And, some people just want to share it with family or share it with friends or whatever, but some want to publish as you have. And you've done, let's see, 2 or 3 books right now.
I'm on the second one's with a publisher right now.
Okay, exciting, exciting.
Yes.
And you've done poems and devotionals and lots of books to share. We'll talk about the names before we, at the very end of the show. And so, but what can people do if they're interested in sharing their story? What would be the first couple of steps to start writing and maybe publishing?
I think the very most important is to find a writers' conference. There you will learn so many different aspects of the writing, of the publishing. You would also meet peers that are in the same stages with you, and that will help you have someone that you can talk back and forth with, you can shoot ideas off of. If you get stuck with something, you'll have someone that can encourage you to keep going. In the writers' conferences, you also I can have meetings with agents or publishers, and you can pitch your story to them to see if anyone would be interested.
And so, first couple of steps, that's a great one, is to attend a conference. And you had said earlier, there's some there's a Blue Ridge Mountain one that's in North Carolina. There's, of course, some in New York City, Atlanta, Virginia Beach, you name it. Surround, all around us, you can just Google and find a writer's conference.
Yes.
And usually they would cost about what? What's the average?
They're between $300 and $500. You will have to pay for your own lodging, and some provide food, some don't. If you cannot afford that, every conference has a scholarship program that you can apply to, and they can pay for the cost of the conference.
So that's wonderful. There's opportunities there. You just have to seek them out and know where to go. And so you also, social media is crucial too when you're building your following. So that would be part of.
That is going to be the very first question any agent or publisher will ask you is, what is your platform? You need to be on social media, and not just promoting your work, but you need to have a presence. You need to build a following. You can give different ideas of what you're working on and spike everyone's interest. You need a website, a blog or a newsletter. They would like for you to have a blog or a newsletter to build up an email address, because as you know, we don't own social media, and you can be turned off tomorrow and you lose all of your following. So by having a website with newsletter or blog or email addresses, you can keep the people that are interested in what you're doing with you the whole time through the whole process.
So that makes sense. And so you're building your following on all social media platforms so that, when you get to that publisher, they see that, oh, yes, these books will sell because
Yes.
you've got enough following. And so, you want to look into literary agents, which you can find some, like you say, at the writers' conferences. And so let's talk about the percentages to be the next bestseller. And how much the percentage the publisher gets, what you should receive as the writer. What are the numbers looking like?
Now, if you want to traditionally publish, your publishing company usually will get 60% of your sales. Your agent will get between 12 and 14, but it's usually at the 14, and then you will get the remaining 20 something. In order to make the bestseller list, and that's why your following is so important and your marketing plan is so important. To be on the Amazon bestseller list, you have to sell 2,000 copies within a week. To be on the New York Times bestseller list, you have to sell 5,000 copies within a week's time. And USA Today's bestseller list, you need to sell 6,000 copies in a week. That's why your following is so very
That's
important.
crucial. That is crucial. And so would you recommend that most people should get a coach, for maybe a ghostwriter?
Absolutely. I hired a coach to help me with my book proposal because your book proposal is just as important as your book, if not more important. You will need that to get an agent or for a publisher to even consider. And so there's so many dynamics to writing a book proposal. I would recommend hiring a coach, and they have great coaches through Brookstone Creative, which is out of Lynchburg Forest area.
Great. And there's probably some book clubs in this area as well.
Yes.
Yes. And we'll have to start. We have a master class, which is kind of like a book club that we're talking about business and how to really help your business to be successful. And so there's all types of book clubs that you can look into. And maybe right here in the library, you can search that as well.
And it keeps you accountable.
Absolutely. Yes. And you can get inspired with ideas from others that, they're willing to share with you. And, everybody, like we said, has a story, and it's a different story to tell. And so there's not competition there. And so how important is the marketing plan?
It's everything.
Right? It's number one.
The first thing they'll look at is your marketing plan. And understandably, you need to prove that you will do your part. You need to prove that you can sell yourself before they're going to consider putting their money behind you.
Absolutely. And, that totally paints the picture right there. If you believe in yourself, you believe in what you're telling your story, and you certainly want to get the word out there and help others, marketing plan is crucial. It's going to be number one. Well, these are the best kept secrets. Thank you for sharing, and to becoming either the next best seller or, you can self-publish. And certainly there's many people there. We have local people right here that are selling themselves and doing it on Amazon. So that's another route to go. And we'll have somebody else on to talk about that. But this is specifically on publishing your book with a publisher and working out with all the aspects from start to finish. And certainly, it takes about how long? Well, I guess everybody's different for their books, but yours, this latest one
took me 9 years.
That's a long time.
I have been working on this book for 9 years. Part of it because it was hard to write, and I would take time off. I could write for a little while, and I would have to push away from it. And I've also changed it multiple times. But once you complete your book and you want to traditionally publish, after you get an agent and even are offered a contract, you're still looking at 18 months from the time you sign a
Okay, from the time
contract
you
to print.
sign. Okay. So that's good to know for people that say, okay, well, how long is this process once I have a completed book? And like you said, your editor may say, well, we've got to change this, this, and this
Yep.
before it goes to market. And so there's a lot of aspects to this, but certainly inspiring. And I can't wait to dive in to the books that you have and some of the ones that you have. Let's see. What are the names again?
And then there was light.
And then there was light. That's such a phenomenal name. I love that. And everybody needs to seek that out. And so we thank you so much for coming on today and sharing part of your story. We'll look forward to hearing more from you and sharing your book. And thank you for joining our chamber, and we will promote you. And what's next for you, Amy?
I have a couple more books up my sleeve. So I will be focusing more on my speaking, but I also have 2 more books that will be in the works for the future.
We look forward to seeing you and hearing more about your story and what's to come. So thank you again for coming on the show today.
Thank you for having me.
And you have a wonderful rest of your week.
Thank you. You too.